business is really warfare, but it's the activity of life itself. You say, well, business means I need to open up a business. Okay, yeah, that's right. But real activity of life has to deal with all the essentials of life that we must provide for ourselves, our families, our future. I have something in my pocket that, gee, where is it? Oh, yeah. I have a gold coin. In 1961, I was sitting with Elijah Muhammad, and he took out of his pocket a gold coin. This is 1 ounce of gold, pure gold, okay? Mr. Muhammad put it on the table. He said, one day soon, this gold coin will be the new medium of exchange. White people are moving into the inner city. Some of them knocking on doors. They come with money and they ask you for your gold. Because what they're giving you, I think I got some of that in my pocket. Yeah, I think I do. Now this is paper. This is not real money. This is real money. Silver as real money. Now you young people, some of the elders in the audience, like myself, this used to be called a silver certificate. How many old people in here know when this was a silver certificate? And you know what it said on the bottom? Pay to the bearer on demand $50 in silver, the real money. This is what you call monopoly money. Oh, you didn't hear me. We're going to do some business tonight. Because business is really warfare. What's about to happen? This week it came out in the news that in 2016, all the major banks are in trouble. It started with J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. What makes a bank in trouble? When the value of the paper that they have begins to lose its value, then the bank is in serious trouble. And so are we who have our money in the bank. Now, white people that are in your neighborhood, they're in the pawn shop now, and they're telling you in the window, bring the gold, we got cash for you. They know you don't know that this is losing its value every day. But gold will increase in value. Now this one here, I bought it today, or sent a brother to get it today, because I wanted to use it to explain something. 1 ounce of gold, this little piece right here, is 12 and you refuse. And as long as you will be a step and fetch it, as long as you will sell out for $1, they make dollars every day. Right next to the Holocaust Museum in Washington is where the Federal Reserve prints the money. The Federal Reserve is the synagogue of Satan. The Federal Reserve, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the House of Rothschild. These are the people that have corrupted the entire world. And I am here to pronounce your doom. Now America's become a fascist country. You remember when Senator Huey Long is quoted as saying, when fascism comes to America, it will be called anti-fascism. Fascism is designed and defined as an authoritarian political ideology that combines nationalism with a corporatist economic system. Fascists advocate the creation of a single party. You think that the Democrats and the Republicans are different? Now, who controls the U.S. Congress? Do you think it's you? Can you really depend on the Senate and the House of Representatives to represent your interests? They're in bed with insurance companies. They're in bed with special interests. And they're in bed with Israel. Most of your senators, many of them, and congresspersons are honorary citizens, members of the Knesset. They control America's wealth. President Bush was controlled. There's not a president that is the real power. The real power are those moneyed people. Satisfied until we have the college level on the University of Islam. And if you help me by doing what you can in the economic field, Muslims, you shouldn't be around here looking to white people to give you a job. Go look in Message to the Black Man and the Economic Blueprint. And if there are 4 of you, 6 of you, 8 of you together, pool your resources, go into business and set up business all over the south and west side of Chicago. I would like to see at least 100 millionaires among the Muslims in Chicago. If you're rich, I'm rich. And I can always come and tell you about the needs of a nation. But if you poor and we poor, hell man, we can't be around here poor. I want to see rich Muslims. And if you obey Allah, there's no reason why you can't make a business successful. You just have to get up and stop being lazy and trifling and go do something for yourself. So we're going to put together a trade delegation of Muslims and, well, everybody's a Muslim. But there are those who have not confessed Islam, but they are brilliant in business. We made promises to governments, and we're going to fulfill our promise. There's all kinds of investment opportunities. Diamonds, gold, uranium, oil. I mean, you name it, Africa is open. And the Europeans are coming in with money and they're taking Africa. Well, why can't we go? They're ready to sell gold mines to us. They're ready for us to develop gold. Well, where's Michael Jackson? Where's Shaq O'Neal? We need to pull our moneyed people together and let's do some business now, because we can't build a nation on the charity of the believer. We can only build a nation on a strong economic foundation that's built on business, agriculture, agribusiness. Yes, sir. Thank you. We invited you here to give you an earth-shaking announcement that from this day forward, we will be challenged to prove. But if you watch us, if you listen to us, I guarantee you every nation and every kingdom on earth will be rocked by the power coming from this tiny little budding nation that Jesus described as a mustard seed. That's right. But when it germinates and grows and spreads its branches, every fowl and every bird will find a refuge under its wings. You are looking at the birth not just of the nation of Islam, but the birth of the kingdom of God Almighty on earth. You Muslim scholars, you are looking at the birth of the kingdom of Islam. We called you here like the wise men of old who saw a star and they traveled to where the baby was. The baby had no room to come to birth. She had to give birth in a manger, or come to birth in a manger. The wise men who saw the baby came bringing gold. What baby needs gold? All babies that I know of need milk. But here's a baby that needs gold. Gold for what? It's not talking about a child being born from a single mother. It's talking about a nation coming to birth that needs gold to build its own institutions and carve out a destiny for itself. This is not a good take, Brother Captain. Physical. You understand physical now, you need money. So FOI, Brother Captain, in the restructuring of the FOI, we have to teach and train every man, yes, sir, to be one who knows how to make money, to be more of a provider and maintainer for his family. That is making a man. Yes, sir. You with me, brother? Yes, sir. Don't you want to know more how to make more money? Yes, sir. If you don't have a job, then there must be those in the FOI that teach us sales technique so that we can become a master Because the more you master selling, I mean, you can sell anything and make a living. And the more you sell, the more money you make. And the more money you make, you can make a good home. And friendship in all walk of life. I'm getting to the home part later.
Yes, sir.
But we just talking about role now.
Yes, sir.
Maintain. Go home tonight, get your dictionary, and if you have a Roget's thesaurus, men, look up the word maintenance and all that goes with it. Study it. What happened to George Bush's stimulus package of nearly $800 billion? You don't even know where that went. Nobody's saying nothing. Nobody asking. But all of a sudden, our brother is the guilty party for putting America in debt. See, if you don't study, you cannot defend him. If you don't study, you can't help him. America went into debt starting in 1913. She was only $1 billion in debt in 1913, and in less than 100 years, she's $56 trillion in debt. How did that happen? Did Brother Barack do that? In 1913, some bankers, Jewish and Gentile, met on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. And they developed what would later become the Federal Reserve Act, which was passed in Congress December the 26th, 1913. And after that, a group of bankers began to control the monetary service of this nation. Oh, they're right around the corner, and where they print the money, and right next door is the Holocaust Museum. Some of you silly ones wonder why. You say, Farrakhan, why are you doing this? You're making it hard for all of us. No. If you don't know Satan, you can't get free from him. Did I say something? See, the book of Thessalonians puts it nice. That day shall not come except there be a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed. Not the spirit of sin. The man of sin. Sin is transgression of the law. And these, they're not really Jews. No. They've hijacked Judaism. Those that I'm talking about. This is the synagogue of Satan that you will read about in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9. Go ahead and study. They print your money. Used to be a time when we could go to the bank and pull out a $50 bill. I happen to have one. Mr. Grant's face is on it. But it says Federal Reserve Note. But when I was a young boy, it used to be called a silver certificate. That you could take it to the bank, this is paper, and get in return real money. Silver. Take it to the bank now. See, you're being tricked every day. Bring your dollars or your old gold, and we will give you paper. Soon you'll be wiping your backside with paper. paper because real money don't exist. America is broke. She's broke.
All right, family, greetings, everyone. How's everyone doing? Assalamu alaikum to wherever you might be tuning in from. Thank you for tuning in. This is your brother, Fard MacD Supreme X, family, the CEO and founder of Fard Money Network and New Millennium Bankers. And we have a powerful broadcast for you tonight. So we thank you for waiting through the intro, but it was some technical problems that we had to get to bring this information to you and what we're going to talk about tonight. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I want to thank all our supporters, right? But we coming in on the theme that before it was a Mike Maloney, before it was a Robert Kiyosaki, before it was a Peter Schiff, and all of these other so-called financial gurus, economic gurus, or people that we love to quote now, there was a Minister Louis Farrakhan talking about the fall of the dollar. There was the Nation of Islam talking about the fall of the dollar and how the dollar ain't bagged by anything sound. Before all those people we are quoting today. See, but we like to forget our own because we don't accept nothing that come from ourselves. But we in the nation will not let you forget what has been said and what is continuing. What is still being said and still being brought to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is 90 years young, and he is still kicking Satan in his backside, and Satan don't want no smoke with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan or the Nation of Islam. That's why they haven't challenged us on anything that we have said. See, you don't weigh a man by what he say, you weigh a man by his enemies. So who are the enemies of the Nation of Islam? Well, the enemies of the Nation of Islam is so-called Negroes, so-called conscious folks. It's the government of the United States. It is the Zionist movement. It is the powers that be, the IRS, the FBI, the CIA, all of those people that you're afraid of. None of them like the Nation of Islam, and they most certainly don't like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he's been waking us up, telling us of the time and telling us what's happening, but we ain't been paying attention. Now, to prove to you that the minister is who we say he is, that the Nation of Islam is that black movement who we say it is, they recently just took down 2 more videos from our YouTube channel for our Money Network, where the minister was only talking about us getting money. He didn't mention the Jew. He didn't mention the Christian. He didn't mention the government of the United States. He didn't mention none of that. And they recently just took these videos down about an economic plan that he gave to us in 1998. And they also took down that video that I just showed y'all, that when he asked for 100 millionaires, that was also in 1998. So you can think that, oh, he anti-Semitic, he a bigot. Man, please. You don't know what a Semitic person is. You don't know what a bigot is, right? We don't have no power to stop anybody from doing whatever they want to do. We don't have no power to stop a Jew from getting a home. We don't have no power to stop a Jew from getting an education, or getting a job, or moving where they want to move, or drive where they want to drive, or bank where they want to bank. We don't have no power to stop nobody from doing that. We don't have no power to stop a Caucasian from doing that. But they have the power to stop us, and they've been trying to stop us for years and years and years. Almost a whole, over a century, about 500 years, they have been stopping us from progress. But we don't see and pay attention to the sign, because you're looking for somebody to tinkle your ear. You're looking for somebody to entertain you. This is what we looking for. We ain't looking for real truth, and we don't want to deal with it. So we stay fragmented. We stay divided based on, well, I'm a Christian, I believe in Jesus. You're a Muslim, you don't believe in Jesus. Man, you wouldn't know Jesus if Jesus was talking to you right now in your face. You wouldn't know him. Why? Because who taught us the book? Where did you get the knowledge about the Bible from? You a Muslim, we follow Prophet Muhammad. Y'all ain't Muslims. Y'all ain't real Muslims. The Nation of Islam was in the West teaching Islam before it was an Arab Muslim over here anywhere in the United States. Do your history. Do your fact check. Right? So you can say what we not. But why does the enemy who hates Islam only put sanctions and restrict us? Well, they over there bombing over there in the Middle East, and then they doing that for the land. They doing that for the resources under the ground of those people's feet. They wouldn't care what they was. If they don't want to bow down and give up the land and give up the resources, then America gangster, they bomb them. They ain't know a whole lot of that, right? We know that, right? Everybody should be able to just know that, right? So this is what we're saying, family. The time is now. But we brought out this broadcast because we wanted you to see not just the Nation of Islam in a different light. We wanted you to see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in a different light, because we meet y'all all the time, especially the millennium, especially the young folks. I ain't religion, I'm just spiritual. We see pretty about all the time. I ain't into religion, all of that there. Well, religion is just a way of life, all right? And religion with us is just connecting us back to our nature. Because if we was groomed up and raised up in an environment where we can be ourselves, we wouldn't need structured religion to put discipline on us. The religion puts the discipline on us to not fornicate, to not drink, to not do people wrong, to not steal. That's what that does. Most of y'all don't want no discipline. That's why you run away from structured religion, right? It ain't that you running from religion, you running from the discipline to stay among those people that's trying to be righteous in the midst of so much evil. America is the number one evil, the evilest country on the planet in the last 6,000 years. America is way worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. America is way worse than back in the days with Noah. America is way worse back in the Arabia when they were just idol worshiping, and Prophet Muhammad brought the revelation of the Holy Quran, made a peace of Allah be upon him, right? America way worse than those. Not only is America worse than all of those countries and those nations that we read about in the scripture that God destroyed for their wickedness, but America is worse than all of those countries combined. Yeah. We living in a country where any imaginable evil, you can do it. And you're justified into doing it. All right? Hey, listen, I was in the feds. I went to court for a gun charge. Listen, I want y'all to hear this now. I want y'all to hear this, because I don't think I ever said this publicly, but I'm going to tell you how evil and how America's system justifies us doing wickedness. I was locked up and did 9 years on a gun charge. Just getting caught with a gun. Not shot anybody, no drugs, just a gun. But because I was already a convicted felon that I had already did time for, right? Listen, I want y'all to hear this. I got 9 years for just a gun. Just riding down the street, going home in the middle of the night with a gun. All right? Now check this out. They didn't give me a bond in the feds. When the feds picked up the case, I did not get a bond for a gun charge, right? I went to a court arrangement, so-called bond hearing, a couple of days after the feds came and got me out of the local jail. And they denied every person in there that had a gun charge, and every person in there that had a gun charge was black. They denied every last one of us a bond. But it was a young Caucasian male there. He was grown, not a teenager. He was grown, 25, 30. He was in there for pedophilia. And they gave him a bond. Right there when they denied all of us, just for a gun, but they gave him a bond. Yeah, the bond had stipulations on it, and it was just a sign-out bond where he didn't have to pay no money. Nobody had to co-sign him, but he was restricted. He couldn't get no computer devices, nothing like that. He couldn't do nothing with a computer. No social media, no computer, nothing like. I'm telling y'all what I witnessed. But he was in there. He had a pedophilia charge of molesting a child. But he got a bond. While we sitting in there with just a gun charge and get denied a bond. And he got a signature walkout bond where if he violated the bond terms, then he would have to pay $5,000. I remember it just like it was yesterday. We sitting there like, what? Like, what's up with this? Like, we like, how that? What? I can't even get a bond. At least give me the hope that I can get out and fight from the outside, right? But anyway, that's not the moral of this story. All right, so thank y'all for tuning in. Let me open up with the proper term in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, who appeared to us in the personage of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi of the Muslim world and the Son of Man of the Christian world. We thank Allah for intervening in our affairs and coming to us with divine guidance and coming to us with the supreme wisdom and giving us a knowledge where we could intake this knowledge and study this knowledge and embody this knowledge and could never be enslaved again. So we thank Allah for coming in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. But we further thank him for giving us a leader, giving us a head, giving us a father, giving us a guide, giving us the baddest black man that ever walked the planet other than Allah himself. And that man is called the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is alive, well, and he's in power. But we wouldn't be talking about those two. We wouldn't have X's and Muhammad's and Mahdi's and Shabazz and Hakeem. We wouldn't have the Nation of Islam in its current form right now today if it wasn't for the faith of one man. And that one man is the man that you just heard. One man that I'm a student of. One man that I'm a follower of. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, in those three holy, righteous men, we like to greet you with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. So let's get into our topic today, family. So our topic today is an article that comes out of the Final Call a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't able to prepare it and do the stream, but I actually supposed to do this weeks ago. But we're kicking off August. I mean, I feel so good, family. I'm talking about this. If you're in the concert community, you know that we call August Black August, and it's a fast going on. I'm not participating in the fast, but it's kind of a similar Ramadan fast that some of our conscious brothers and sisters partake in the month of August. So it does. I just woke up just energized. I went to sleep energized. I just woke up energized. I just woke up on another level. I got a whole lot of goals accomplished today. See, when you're trying to get back on track, when y'all balance, you have to accomplish many goals, like waking up on time, like making your prayer, like reading something, like studying something before you get started with your day. And I did that, right? So I'm excited. All right. So family, this article is coming out of Africa, and it is called, but it's in the Final Call newspaper, Africa is trapped in unpayable debt by the IMF and the World Bank. Now, family, this article is so heavy, but before we get to there, let us just take a look at the United States debt clock. Because business is warfare. That's why you can't work for dollars. You got to work for something else. Or you got to work for dollars and turn your dollars into something else. You cannot hold dollars. You cannot work for dollars. We're going to scream this until the dollar falls. Whether it falls next week or next year, we're going to continue to tell you. We Found Money Network. We don't get sidetracked. See, we fall in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We don't care who say what. We don't look sideways. We don't look right. We look straight. We're going after our enemy. We're going after our enemy. We're not attacking the Federal Reserve. We're not attacking the synagogue and say we are fighting back. They already attacked us, right? Because a Muslim is never the aggressor. So we didn't start this, but I be goddamn, we ain't no damn punks. We ain't gonna sit around like it ain't happening. All right, so you can forget about slavery. You can forget about the dollar. You can forget about what the banks did. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You can forget about it because you're comfortable with your lifestyle. Are you comfortable? You don't want no smoke with them. Or you just don't know how to fight because you ain't following nobody. Well, we're going to keep you on your toes, all right? So we're going to have you tossing and turning at night because when God makes a call for you to come and aid him and help him, you will never be comfortable. He will always lash you and put you in a situation to get you on the path that he wants you on. And he has called you to help him do what? Not that he needs you. No. Make no mistake about it. The Lord of the world is not in need of any one of us. Right? He don't need us for 1 minute, 1 second. We need him. Because he can wipe this whole thing out in a twinkling of an eye and won't leave one soul on the planet if he wanted to. But that will show that he was weak if he could not force the planet or humanity to submit to his will. And if he didn't have the patience to see his plan through, that will make him a lesser God. That will make him a weak God. That's why he hasn't wiped out this country yet. Because he's trying to save us. But he has a plan. And you or me may be a part of that plan. All right? So, family, we want to get into this. The national debt clock is at $32 trillion, $674,925,000,000 and counting. That is the United States national debt. If you are a citizen, whether you're a taxpayer, whether you're a non-taxpayer, you owe on this debt. And it's running in real time. They don't even hide this scam. But some of us been so duped down and so dumbed down, we don't know what a scam is, right? We just call everything what people making money outside of slaving for all day and trading time for money. We just call that a pyramid scheme. You don't even know what a pyramid scheme is. I'm showing you a pyramid scheme. Every time you pay taxes is a pyramid scheme. Every time you swipe a credit card, you're aiding the pyramid scheme. Make no mistake about it. I know some of y'all doing credit repair. That's cool. Get it to get you some passive income. Get it to get you some assets. Don't use your credit to just get liabilities. Don't do that because that's going to keep you in bondage. All right. Now the national debt. That's the national debt, 32.6 trillion. Trillion with a T. We'll make that clear. All right. Now the total debt of America. Y'all think this country how can a country fall with this much debt? Because now we got to start asking the question, well, who they in debt to? They in debt to the so-called Jews, the international bankers, the synagogue of Satan that your Bible told you about. Oh, yeah, it's in your Bible. We just don't know how to read it. We don't comprehend it. We thinking it's some past tense. We can't see it in modern form, but we help you see it in modern form. All right. The synagogue of Satan is the Federal Reserve and all other things. We're going to talk more about the broader synagogue of Satan, which is the IMF and the World Bank. We're going to get into that tonight. All right. So listen, the total debt of America is $101 trillion, 640 billion, 101 trillion, 640 billion dollars, and you got faith in this? I don't give a damn who they make the president. They will never be able to solve this. This is unfixable. And matter of fact, the Federal Reserve ain't even trying to fix it. They trying to keep us bottled up, locked in it. Woo, man. That should have been a tweet. The Federal Reserve, the central banking system of the United States, they are not trying to fix this debt crisis, this currency crisis. They are trying to keep us in the crisis. Yeah. So it has a rendezvous with death. It has to fall. And when the dollar falls, the government comes right down right behind it. However, the article we're going to get into is in the final call. That, like I said, it happened a couple weeks ago. So let's go to the digital final call. By the way, if you want to get the description to the digital final call, then you can text LCN to that number on the screen, and you can send me your email, and I will make sure you get the final call every week. All right. They are $2 issues, and we only do 90-day subscriptions. All right. So you have to get a minimum of 12 issues to be a subscriber to the digital final call through me. All right. Now, we also do mail in too. It'll be a little higher with the mail in because we have to pay for shipping and handling. All right. So this is our beloved brother. We just celebrated his homegoing or his transition back to his Lord. This is the man that went back and grabbed and stood up the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan after he had failed in 1975. So this is Minister Brother Jabril Muhammad, who will never die. He will live forever. His significance to the nation is unmatched. And one day soon on our Separation of Independence broadcast, we will play the eulogy that just took place on Sunday, which was beautiful. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is such a beautiful man. It's like when he tells stories, it's like he puts you right there in the scene. All right, so that's the latest edition right there. So if you want this edition with excerpts from the eulogy, not the eulogy, from the janazah that just happened on Sunday, that the minister did himself, orchestrated himself, then you can text me so you can get this issue delivered to your email or mailed to your home. Okay, so the article what we're coming out of today comes from this paper from July the 4th. The final call, July the 4th, 2023, LCN 4238. So it is in this paper where the article that we are going to get into today, here it is right here. And let me blow the screen up a little more so we can see it. This is brought to our brother Jerron Muhammad. I think I pronounced that right. But he's going to get into this. And this article is called, we have this article that's pretty much in every final call called Africa Watch. So we're giving you international news, telling you what's going on around the world. Cause I know some of y'all say you want to go back to Africa. Okay. We gonna let you know what's happening. You should want to know what's going on over there and how the enemy has tricked us up. However, before we get into this article, it's not really long. We got another clip of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is going to foretell what we're going to read tonight. He had already told us this is what the IMF and the World Bank do. So let's go back in time to 1998, before it was a Facebook, before it was an Instagram, before it was YouTube, where the minister had already told us what the IMF and the World Bank was all about. They are all under the control of the Federal Reserve. They really won. So let's go back to 1998, Savior's Day 1998, and you can find this whole lecture on YouTube titled, What is Islam? So let's check it out.
Have taken Africa. Africa right now is gone. Do you know what they're doing? The Africans and third world countries want to develop. They don't have the money. So here comes the United States behind the IMF, the World Bank, Federal Reserve. Come, we'll give you some money. Here is $1 billion. And they hold that carrot out. Then they say, wait. You must devalue your currency. And just think of this for a minute. Devalue your currency. Now, what is current? Bring that picture out here, brother. What time is it?
Here's the 2 letters. Okay.
I'm almost there. Can you sit with me a few more minutes? I'd just like you to, they're going to stand here and hold this. This is the serpent that has deceived the whole world. We'll get to him in just a minute. Stay right there, brothers. Now, currency, and current. Current is the flow of electricity from a source to that which receives it. And when that which receives current receives it, it is power to create motion, light, heat, and energy. To diminish the current is to diminish the power coming from the source, then less light, less heat, less energy, less motion. So when the IMF says devalue your currency, they're literally weakening that nation's ability to provide strongly for itself. Now the IMF says after you devalue your currency, you must privatize. This is in the name of a global economy. You must privatize. Now look at this privatization. Privatize means you must sell off the things that government owns as representative of the people, so that private companies can buy your gold mines, your uranium, buy even your means of electricity, gas and water, so that outsiders now come in to buy, then they own the means of production of wealth in that country. So the whole country is working for the IMF, the World Bank, and behind the loan is America buying these people so that when she needs a vote in the United Nations, they will vote with her or punk out and abstain. Africa is gone. They're enslaved now by debt. You see new roads being built, but the price of the new road is that they've given up the gold. They've given up oil concessions. In Mexico, when America bailed out Mexico, they tied the bailout to Pemex, which is the oil producer in Mexico. But the Mexicans were smart. They paid the loan off, but still in debt. You know why Nigeria is a rogue state? Do you know why Libya is a rogue state? Do you know why China is not looked at too well? Listen, there are human rights violations in every country, including this one. That's not the reason that Nigeria is a rogue state. When have white people cared about black people killing each other? Listen to me. They say Abacha killed the Ogoni 9. That's all. We should put sanctions on him. He killed the Ogoni 9. Yeah? When have you cared? More than 9 may have died last night in Chicago. You haven't said anything about blacks killing each other. You're not in the ghettos trying to get us to be more humane. You know why they're saying that Nigeria is a rogue nation? Because Nigeria refuses to borrow any money from the IMF and the World Bank, and 40% of their staff in Nigeria had to go home because Nigeria refused to borrow any money from them. So when Nigeria refuses to borrow, then through careful manipulation of the economy, they can strengthen the Nigerian naira, its currency. Libya won't borrow no money from the IMF. China ain't borrowing any money. We're developing our economy. The IMF is the new slave maker, the World Bank. I talked with a highly placed banker in Saudi Arabia. When I mentioned this, that this is a form of slavery, he didn't deny it. He said, brother, we're only trying to diminish the effects. We don't know how to stop it. But suppose the Muslim world decided to tie their currency to gold so that they would not be the victim of a floating currency that can go up and down at somebody's whim. But if they tied it to gold as a stable anchor for currency, then they could break probably the back of these world serpents.
All right, family. So that was literally 25 years ago. 2 decades and a half a decade ago when he said that. So let's come to 2023, where we are today, and let's see is what the minister said back then relevant and in play today. All right. Africa is trapped in unpayable debt by the IMF and the World Bank. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in New Orleans in 2008 that after slavery, we blacks were forced into sharecropping. Small country merchants took the place of plantation owners and used debt rather than the whip to keep the black man picking the necessary cotton for the world economy. Just as the revitalized Southern cotton barons and their northern affiliates trapped African descendants under a new form of slave labor, the World Bank, along with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, have trapped countries in Africa and other regions in the global south with unpayable debt, according to a recent geopolitical economic report by Ben Norton. Debt as a form of imperialism went global, as mentioned in David Goldberg's 2011 book, Debt, the First 5,000 Years. He frames the IMF as the world's debt enforcers are the high finance equivalent of the guys who come to break your legs. David explained how modern-day capitalism encouraged the debt that underdeveloped global south countries encountered. This debt crisis for the global south began after the 1970s oil crisis resolution with OPEC countries. Some reports say with threatened United States military intervention a possibility, pouring so much of their newfound increased oil price riches called petrodollars into Western banks that the banks couldn't initially figure out where to invest. See, remember you got to devalue your currency, right? In his 2003 book, The New Imperialism, David Harvey explained, with the influx of petrodollars into United States banks recentered global financial activity in the United States, coupled with reforms rescue New York from its own economic crisis. The results, he explained, was a powerful Wall Street, United States Treasury regime with controlling powers over global institutions. such as the IMF, and able to make or break many weaker foreign economies through credit manipulation and debt management practices. Flush with cash, financial institutions like Citibank and Chase Manhattan traveled the world seeking to convince third world dictators and politicians to take our loans. At the time, this was called go-go banking. Harvey continued. This began with extremely low interest rates that eventually skyrocket to upwards of 20% due to tight United States money policies of the 1980s and 90s. Noted, this led to Africa's debt crisis. The IMF stepped in to insist that in order to attain refinancing, poor countries will be obligated to abandon price supports of subsidies on foodstuffs. They were even encouraged to relinquish the keeping of strategic food reserves and abandon free healthcare and free education. Wow. The tragic results, wrote Mr. David, led to the collapse of all the most basic support for some of the world's poorest and most vulnerable countries. The geopolitical economy report by Mr. Norton also echoes these demands that impose a series of harsh right-wing neoliberal economic policies as part of the so-called structural adjustment programs. These policies included forcing countries to privatize. Didn't the minister just say that? Did he told us what they was doing, right? And what they're continuing to do. This is not no game. The minister is light years ahead of us. He can see so far down the road. All we got to do is just listen and just take his guidance and apply it. And we can survive. All right? Because he's telling us what's happening and what's coming. All right? These policies included forcing countries to privatize state assets, reduce the minimum wage, cut social service, reduce spending on healthcare and education, and privatize all state-owned companies, as well as deregulate markets. The report noted these are the free market fundamentalist policies that are imposed These are the free market fundamentalist policies that are imposed on countries, especially in the global south, when they can't pay back debt to the World Bank or the IMF. Mr. David calls these loans utterly irresponsible. He wrote that they were made with the full knowledge that once it became known that they had done so, politicians and bureaucrats would scramble to ensure that they had still be reimbursed anyway. No matter how many human lives had to be devastated and destroyed in order to do so. While United States Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, the former chair of the Federal Reserve Bank, is saying the IMF and World Bank is a counterweight to China. Antonio, the United Nations Secretary General, said that the IMF has benefited rich countries instead of poor ones. What contributes to Africa's debt crisis? According to Foreign Policy Africa Brief, the United States dollar is the strongest it has been in 2 decades, which has squeezed lower income nations that are reliant on oil imports and borrow in dollars to fund state services, often at exceptionally high interest rates. Until recently, the United States and UK could borrow at less than 1% interest, whereas private lenders have charged countries in Africa between 7 to 10%, explained Tim Jones, head of policy at Debt Justice and International Charity. From what I can see, it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The lenders claim that the loans are risky, but because they charge high interest rates, that creates the risk, Jones said. So Africa is in debt, as the minister told us 25 years ago, as he told us even before that, as he continued to tell us. So ain't no sense of you talking about you want to go back to Africa. You can't help them. They in debt. The whole world is looking to us in the West, what we're going to do, because we are in the house of this beast. We from where it all started. Right here in Washington, right there in Washington, D.C., the capital city. We in the head of the snake. So the whole world is looking at us. Little do we know it or not, to what we're going to do. So until we get ourselves up and moving and going, we can't go over there and help them. But if we can get our capital up, if we could get us a system going and take to them, that's why they are sitting in meetings with Russia, with China. They're trying to get away from the West power, because Russia and China has played fair with the Africans. Little do we know that or not. So they want to get away from the West, England, France, United States, Israel. They don't want to do business with them no more. That's why you got African nations joining the BRICS nation. And they finna push this new currency that the BRICS supposed to roll out for everybody to pay outside of dollars. This thing is getting deep. All right. So we thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all got something out of this. Please replay this. You got any questions about what we're doing or what we're saying? Please ask any questions that you feel free, whether it's about the nation or if it's about this article, about this particular subject, what we're dealing on. But we in Forward Money Network, we take the financial economic side to what the minister has been teaching and training and speaking about for over 60 plus years. That's what we do in Forward Money. So bring us the economic questions. If you want some spiritual guidance about the nation, we know where to direct you to so you can get that. But when you come here, we dealing with money over here. We dealing with group economics over here, because we got to get rid of that beast. We got to get out of that scam, and we got to do it fast if we want to survive, because this warfare, it is on a spiritual level, but it's also equally on a economic level also. So the mission or the assignment of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the mission and the assignment of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it is to resurrect us spiritually and economically. We dead on both levels. So that's what that's for. So thank y'all for tuning in. Text FCN to the number at the bottom of the screen for a 12-week digital or physical subscription. Just know that the physical mail-in subscription of a physical phone call will come in the mail, and it costs more than you doing it digital. But if you do it digital, we will send you the email every Tuesday or Wednesday morning. You will get it every Tuesday or Wednesday morning. All right. If you want to just donate to the nation, you want to donate to the idea of the minister and us dealing with poverty and want and solving that problem with our economic blueprint, which I'm going to leave us with that video talking about Muhammad's economic blueprint. If you want to donate to that, but we're asking for all wage earners, all income earners, donate just $20 a year in a national treasury fund so we can buy up some land, so we can produce businesses and jobs for our own suffering people. We can produce food, we can produce clothing, shelter. We can do all of that if we would come together and just put some of the money that we're making to the side, but it got to be given to somebody that we can trust. Now, who can you trust other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to be dealing with a lot of money, and we plan it out properly and allocate it out properly? So go to www.economicblueprint.org. You will be donating to Muhammad's Economic Blueprint. And if you want to get you your own economic up to going, if you want to get financially free, you want an early retirement, then you can text 10K to that same number, and you can learn about our decentralized blockchain banking system that we're operating in, that has caused me to live a freedom life, that got me earning over $3,000 passive income per week going upwards. All right. If you want to know more about that, then you text 10K to 777 727-342-2881. Or if you want to just go ahead and book me for a one-on-one passive income banking session, then you can just go to forwardmoney.net. I get with the person that shared this video with you and tell them you want to know more about Project Exodus 10,000, or you want to participate in Project Exodus 10,000. You can book me on a one-on-one session. They only 25, 30-minute sessions. They help get you started, ask you any questions, show you what we're doing, show you the system that we're using and whatnot like that, give you some schematics, some facts, the pros and cons, and answer any real concern question that you have, then you can book me at forwardmoney.net. All right. With that being said, family, we're going to leave you with a clip of the minister from 2013 talking about Muhammad's economic blueprint. Check it out.
And today, in 2013, we are in December of this year, 100 years since the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank and the Internal Revenue Service and the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. And since then, America's debt has gone from $2 billion to more than $16.4 trillion. Now, they set these institutions up to work in unity. The Federal Reserve, the IRS, and the ADL. One was to create debt. The other was to enforce a tax policy to take from the American citizens enough to pay that debt. And the watchdog of the whole thing was to see who would recognize who did this. And that's when the Anti-Defamation League would raise the cry of anti-Semitism. And now, America is seeing herself in ruin because of it. Though they're telling you the inflation rate is a low 1.7%, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke is now running the printing presses 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to prop up a falling economy with money that is backed by nothing. The money that they are printing has no value. It's phony money, fiat money. Every month, the Federal Reserve is flooding the monetary system with $85 billion in fiat or phony money. It is valueless paper that makes whatever wages we earn lose its value. They can pacify us with the talk of recovery, but your bill for milk, for bread, for oil, for gasoline, for cereal, for butter, for transportation, for the essential goods that make life livable for the American people, those prices are skyrocketing. Yet your wages are not keeping pace. You're making $7 and a few pennies hourly wage. Well, now we have 29 states under severe drought, ruining crops and livestock, with one major storm after another, and all the calamities that are happening, this only adds to the pressure on an economy that is already on life support. Now the people are being taxed to pay for this, but the debt is so far beyond what little the people have that they can never pay it down. And to tax the people further would deprive them more of the essentials of life, which they are barely getting now. The fact is that we are now facing the grim reality that everything that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad predicted has now come to pass.